I would not recommend buying Super Microcomputer. However, despite me saying that and the stock falling by over 50% in the last year, I do still hold 200 shares of the company in my portfolio. So obviously those two statements are very contradicting. So today in this video, we are going to be taking a look at the risks for Super Microcomputer as well as the potential rewards for this company. Normally I put the disclaimer at the end of my video to not buy a company just because some random guy on YouTube talked about it. But this is a company to me that I think there are a lot of risks with, and you need to make sure you understand those before making a purchase. So keep that in mind as you watch this video, and I do hope you enjoy it. If you do, drop a like down below and subscribe for more videos like this one. Before we jump into Super Microcomputer, I believe that transparency is everything, especially when you're talking about money on the internet. Here we have the YouTube portfolio. It's currently sitting at a value of $58,671.38. And transparency is especially important when you're talking about companies that you own, which is exactly what we are going to be doing here today because I hold 200 shares of Super Microcomputer. This is my only position in this company, and right now it's down around 11%. On top of that, I hold Alibaba, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Palantir, PayPal, SoFi, and Visa. And of those positions, my top performing are Palantir, Apple, Microsoft, and SoFi. And honestly, two of the ones that I'm very excited about are Palantir. They have an earnings announcement on Monday, which will be very interesting. I think a lot of growth is already priced into this company, so I'm a little bit worried about what could actually be announced during these earnings, because even if they come through with great numbers, I think we could potentially see the stock fall. If we see it fall very significantly, I could actually add to this position, but right now I'm just kind of sitting on the sidelines. I had 100 shares coming into the year and I sold out of 90 of them because I believe a lot of this growth is already priced in. The company that I'm actually most excited about in 2025 might actually be Microsoft. They had a very weak 2024 and we see some downward movement after they announced their earnings. So if this stock continues to fall, it may be one that I look to build out more in this portfolio. And on top of those positions, I hold SCHD and VYM. These are two dividend ETFs. I've talked about SCHD multiple times on the channel because I plan on selling out of it at some point in the future. Right now, I have around $13,000 in cash, so I don't really need the cash to be sitting on the sidelines. So I'm glad collecting the dividend from SCHD. However, if we see a major dip in the market, I'd likely sell out of SCHD and use that cash in other positions. However, the company we're going to be talking about today is Super Microcomputer. Super Microcomputer is a very volatile and very risky stock. So make sure you're paying attention to these risks in this video before making any sort of purchasing decision on this company. We can see that at one point in 2024, the stock price was around $120 per share. However, from that point, the stock actually fell by almost 90% to $18 per share. It's rebounded slightly from there, up around 60%. However, it's still down significantly in the last year, down over 50%. And basically all of this move down comes from concerns that Super Microcomputer could potentially be delisted from the NASDAQ. In August of 2024, an activist investor at Hindenburg Research revealed a short position on Super Microcomputer and accused the company of accounting manipulation. And this accusation started gaining some traction in October when the company's auditing firm Ernst & Young resigned as the company's auditor. And this resignation had a huge impact on Super Microcomputer's stock price. It fell by over 60% in just a couple of weeks. If you're looking at this from the bull case on Super Microcomputer, there's a clear issue with the timeline because in August you have this activist investor accusing the company of accounting manipulation. What that does is that puts a ton of pressure on Ernst & Young, and the best thing they really can do in this situation is just resign as the company's auditor, which is exactly what they ended up doing. That puts a lot of pressure on Super Microcomputer, but it also kind of made Ernst & Young look bad in this situation. So they're trying to distance themselves from the situation, whether there was or wasn't wrongdoing. The bear case for all of this is very obvious. It is just that the company is doing something manipulative with their accounting principles that is causing the financials behind the company to look better than they actually are. That's obviously where the bear case comes in. If Super Microcomputer is manipulating their numbers to actually look better than what they truly are, that would be a huge no-no, and that would be very, very bad for the company. So that's where the bear case really comes in, is looking at this at face value and saying that Super Microcomputer was doing something illegal or potentially very wrong, and that is why the stock deserves to fall even further. However, you almost need to pick and choose what you take at face value, because Super Microcomputer actually completed their own internal probe of the situation and found no evidence of misconduct. And here's the full statement that Super Microcomputer released on that committee's findings. The special committee has completed its investigation based on a set of initial concerns raised by Ernst & Young. Following a 3-month investigation led by independent counsel, the committee's investigation to date has found that the audit committee has acted independently and there is no evidence of fraud or misconduct on the part of management or the board of directors. The committee is recommending a series of remedial measures for the company to strengthen its internal governance and oversight functions. And one of those recommended actions is the replacement of this man here, David Wagand. He is the chief financial officer at Super Microcomputer, and as of right now, his picture is still up on their website. And even according to his LinkedIn, he is still the CFO at Super Microcomputer. When it comes to all of this, the bear case against it is that the board isn't even taking action against these recommendations, while the bull case is that it just takes a while to actually replace a high-level position like a CFO. In my opinion, Super Microcomputer is moving just a little bit too slow on this. They should have came out almost immediately and let go their CFO and started moving forward with the process. However, the fact that there really hasn't been much news around their CFO being let go or the process of finding a new CFO is a little bit concerning overall. The only real acceptable answer for not letting go their CFO is that they're solely focused on not getting delisted. They need to file all of the necessary paperwork with the SEC by February 25th to avoid delisting. And the good thing is they have already appointed a new auditing firm, BDO, to actually perform the audits of their financial statements. So they are headed in the right direction, but they do have a very short time period to get all of these listings filed. The sad thing for Super Microcomputer is this is not the first time they've gone through this. Back in 2018, the stock was actually removed from the NASDAQ after an SEC investigation into its revenue reconciliation practices. This ultimately led to a 2-year battle between the SEC and Super Microcomputer that eventually resulted in the company being relisted. Ultimately, if Super Microcomputer got delisted, it would trade over the counter or OTC. What that results in is higher transaction fees, lower liquidity in the market, as well as less regulation. You would likely still maintain it in your portfolio as long as you have a major brokerage like Charles Schwab, Fidelity Investments, or even Robinhood. But the stock would likely see another leg down in its price as a lot of investors do not like holding OTC companies. The big pros when it comes to Super Microcomputer are the fundamentals around their top and bottom line numbers. They are seeing tremendous growth in the last couple of years. Over the last year alone, their revenue has increased by 143% year over year to almost $15 billion. And their bottom line numbers are growing super fast as well. We can see that for the trailing 12-month period, their EPS numbers are sitting at $2 per share. That is up almost 62% year over year. And in the previous quarter, they saw an increase of EPS numbers by 340% year over year. And this tremendous amount of growth comes from the market that Super Microcomputer services. They are providing services to data centers. It doesn't matter what type of chip you are planning to use, whether it's AMD, Nvidia, or even Intel, they have applications for all of these. And fundamentally, if you expect companies like AMD and Nvidia to do well over the next 2 to 3 years, then you should expect the same from Super Microcomputer. And this is even reflected in their bottom line estimates from analysts over the next couple of years. In 2025, estimates are $2.78 for EPS compared to $2.21 in 2024. And growth continues in 2026, where estimates hit $3.69. And because of this expected growth, forward valuations are extremely low right now for the company. We can see the forward PE ratio currently is around 8.4. And ultimately, that is the reason that I own this stock. When we look at the valuation of this company, it is extremely low. And what that results in is a very low, in my opinion, risk to reward ratio. When we talk about the risks that this company are facing around delisting, I believe that they are taking all the necessary steps by bringing BDO on board to audit their results to stay listed listed on the NASDAQ. Based on my estimates right now, Super Microcomputer is trading at a forward P ratio around 10.26. I believe that the company should be trading between a 20 and a 30 forward P ratio. That would result in a price target anywhere from $55 to $83 per share, which would be upside between 95% and 190%. However, we should get feedback very quickly around SMCI and how serious they are about filing with the SEC. I plan on waiting until the end of February to see if they actually file or not. If they don't file with the SEC, it's likely that I will sell out completely of my position. Unless they come through with a plan saying we are going to file by this date and that is very definitive and very clear, then maybe I'll hold on to my position. Otherwise, I think it's likely that I will sell out by the end of February if they have not filed. However, if we do see them file and the stock doubles, I'll likely sell some if not all of my position. At that point, the valuation would double as well. They'd be closer to a 20 forward P ratio, and I think that at that point the risk is not really worth the reward with SMCI. If they file and the stock actually moves up 25 to 75%, I'll probably sell some of my position. If they file and the stock doesn't move at all and the numbers are very solid, I'll probably hold and just wait to see what they put out over the next couple of quarters and if they can continue to grow their top and bottom line numbers. Ultimately, you should not buy Super Microcomputer. There's so many risks with this company. I have such a long time horizon because I'm younger in age that for me, taking a risk on it is really worth it because it's not going to put me far behind. I'm not betting a large portion of my portfolio. We're talking about 10% of my YouTube portfolio, which ultimately is a very small percentage of my overall net worth as well. So keep all of that in mind. Don't bet the horse on a company like this. This is more of a short-term kind of gamble that the company will come through and stay listed on the NASDAQ. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like down below. It really helps the channel out. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful rest of your day. And for the joke of the day, what do you call a beehive without an exit? Check the comments down below for the answer. Thanks for watching.